All right, hello there. Welcome to another wee bit different video. Today's video, going back to another NBA Weekly, and this kind of NBA Weekly is going to be different than what we've done in the past because we're no longer talking about seedings. We're talking about the fucking playoffs, and playoffs are obviously the most interesting time of the year for NBA fans because this is what makes or breaks a lot of players' legacy and teams' legacy. So first things first, just covering the two playing games. Hawks being the 8th seed, beating the 7th seed Heat for the 7th seed position. Timberwolves 8th seed, losing to the 7th seed Lakers to maintain 8th seed position, and now have to fight for that spot of the winner of the Thunder and Pelicans on what that game would be on Friday. Today's Wednesday, so you guys will see this video on Thursday. And then the Bulls and Raptors, same thing. We'll play the winner will play the Heat for that final 8th seed spot. But looking at the first round here and making a couple predictions, in all honesty, Hawks and Celtics are going to have their way. That one's not going to be a competitive series. I think the Hawks will probably get swept, at the most win one game. 100% this series will be over by game 5, bearing any insane upset. But if the Hawks somehow, some way make it competitive, I don't even think they could even... there's just no way they win more than one game. And I'd be shocked. I'd be really, really surprised. But hey, we'll see. Nets 76ers, another series that is not going to be competitive. The Nets will probably... My prediction is the Nets will lose the series 1-4. 76ers will win 4-1. Same thing. And reason being should be very obvious. Since the trade deadline, the Nets have been 11-13. Shout out to Kuz for that record update. Y'all have not updated on the Kuz and Spencer Dinwiddie thing. That was pretty funny. But the Sixers have just been monstrous all year. Probably going to have the MVP winner in Joel Embiid. And as good as Mikal Bridges is, I talked about it in my last week's edition of NBA Weekly. I'm not so curious as to see what they're going to do in the playoffs because we know they're going to lose to the Sixers. I'm more so curious to see what they're going to do in the offseason because how are they going to surround Mikal Bridges with talent and with what kind of talent to be good starting next season or to be good for years ahead, so probably get some young players. There's a lot of ways the Nets can go about this. I'm really curious into how they do that. But yeah, this series should be a sweep. This series should be a 4-1 series. If not a sweep, it won't go past game 5. No way. Knicks and Cavaliers. This is the first series prediction that I'm going to guess game 7. I truly believe this is going to be a game 7 series with the Cavs taking it. My reasoning being is the Cavs are one of the best teams in the NBA at home, and that is going to be a big deal because they have 4 home games. I think what's going to happen, at least, again, it's a prediction here. I'm looking at Cavs taking game 1, Cavs losing game 2, Knicks taking game 3, Cavs taking game 4, Cavs taking game 5, Knicks taking game 6, and Cavs taking game 7. The reason why I have it in that order is very simple. The Knicks are also a good away team just as they are a good home team. I think if the Knicks go down 2-0 out the gate, they'll know that they're in huge trouble because to win twice in a row, let alone 3 times in a row, just to force just to apply some pressure on the Cavs would be really difficult. So again, Cavs win game 1, Knicks game 2 because the Knicks are fighters no matter where they are, whether it's home or away. But the Cavs do also lose game 3 is what I think is going to happen because they struggle to find momentum at away games on the road, and the Knicks playing at the Garden, one of the most impactful arenas in the NBA, at least for fan bases. A lot of people just love that arena, and the fans are going to go crazy. So I do think that the Knicks win their first home game in the playoffs. But then I do think the Cavaliers regroup just because they got star power in Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. It's going to be really hard to beat that. So I got Cavs taking game 4 and 5. And then Knicks 6. And then Cavs to finish it off at home, game 7. It's going to be a close series no matter what, though. It's going to be really close, really tight. Obviously, amazing matchups, but problem here is Julius Randle going to be defended by Evan Mobley, and if he tries to take it in, it's going to be hard to avoid paint protection skills of Jared Allen. Jared Allen can also rebound out the ass, same with Evan Mobley. And then obviously offensively, as great as Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are, it's going to be an entirely different mission to stop a guy like Donovan Mitchell with Darius Garland in the fold, especially when you have alley-oop threats in Evan and Jarrett. And then coming off the bench, obviously Emmanuel Quickley is a big deal. Probably going to be the 6th man of the year, if not Brogdon. But Karis LeVert is no slouch, and Karis LeVert is a solid defender as well. So this series is going to be probably the most anticipated series, one of them. Then you got the Warriors and the Kings, which is going to be an amazing series. I can't wait for the series because the Kings have so much to prove. Honestly, I'm going to come out here with the hot take. This is going to be a seriously hot take. I think the Kings win this series. Reason why I say that's a hot take is because everyone and their moms is saying how Warriors can take it deep into the playoffs. And am I saying Warriors aren't going to make it competitive? No, I think they do make it competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they win. I think it's going to be a 50-50 series, or 51-49, me giving the slight edge to the Kings. But if the Warriors win, this is not going to be a surprise to me. They're still the defending champs, obviously gaining someone back in Andrew Wiggins, who they've been without for a while now. So I'm really looking forward to this series. It's going to be so amazing. My prediction would be Kings for sure win game 1. Reason being, Kings for sure win game 2. I don't care how game 1 goes. They have to take game 2 because they'll be settled in more. Things will be going a lot more easier. Game 1, they'll have insane butterflies. No playoff experience in a lot of those players, if any of those players. So game 2 is where they really win. Game 1, I would lean towards the Warriors. So we're probably looking at a 1-1 series tied at 1-1. Kings take one at Warriors. Do they though? That's the problem. Fuck, this series is gonna be so close. Warriors are so good at home. I just have a hard time imagining the Kings are gonna start out 2-0. I really do. Just with no playoff experience, it's really difficult. My bet is that in the latter half of the series, the Kings really start to come through. But we'll see. I got to go in game 7. I'm gonna give it to the Kings, but again, Warriors could easily win. Lakers and Grizzlies, I'm going to have to remove myself from just any serious discussion of the series because I am biased as hell. I cannot talk about this series without being biased because y'all know I'm a Lakers fan. So I can't sit here and be like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I think Lakers are going to win. I think Bron's going to go crazy. I think AD's going to go crazy. Yeah, I think that because my heart wants to believe that. But I truly don't have it in me to talk about, like, this series in a non-biased way because I've been a Laker fan for a very long time, since the Kobe Bryant days. So I can't speak on this series without being biased. So if y'all want an answer from me, I'm gonna say Lakers because of my bias and because I'm a Lakers fan. And if you're a fan of a team and you don't have hope, then shit's really down bad. Suns and Clippers, I got this going to game 6. I got Suns winning the series 4-2. Even though Clippers are going to be down PG, presumably for most of the series, if not the whole series. I think they're a well-coached team. Still got a guy in Kawhi Leonard. The series will probably start out Suns taking 2. Clippers win 1. Suns win another one, 3-1. Clippers win 1. That'll be 3-2. Then Suns finish it at the Clippers home 4-2. I don't think this series goes to game 7 at all. Suns are just way too good with too much superstar power in Devin Booker and KD. And that's going to be that for those series. But then we talk about who do we think's going to get 8th seed. It don't fucking matter. The Bucks will beat whoever they fucking play, which is probably going to be the Heat, but who knows. And the Nuggets will have their way with whoever they play, whether it's the Pels, the Thunder, or the Timberwolves. It won't matter. The Nuggets are going to come out on top. Same thing with the Celtics, and they should honestly both be sweeps. I think if the Nuggets play the Thunder, the Nuggets will sweep the Thunder. If the Nuggets play the Pelicans, they'll probably win 4-1. If the Nuggets play the Timberwolves, they'll win 4-1. If the Bucks play the Heat, they'll probably win 4-1. If the Bucks play the Raptors, I got it 4-1. If the Bucks play the Bulls, it's a sweep, 4-0. That's my honest take on this. But anyway, as always, let's get into my favorite part of the video. All right, here we are for the second half of the video. You guys know how we do if you've been familiarized with these videos. Second half, we just go down and dirty into 3 specific teams. Pause. But first thing we're going to talk about today is, drum roll, boom, 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 the Boston Celtics. And the reason why I want to talk about the Boston Celtics is because coming off of a finals run last year, this year they got the Hawks in the first round, 2nd seed. They are in a position where they can really make a deep, deep run. I mean, you really think about it. They're probably going to have to play the Sixers in the second round, right? Oh, I guess my colors are changing now. Is that a problem for you guys? I hope not, but it's fine. It is what it is. Anyway, what I'm saying is they're probably going to have to play the Sixers in a second round. If they lose in the second round against a phenomenal Sixers team, is this year a bust? Is this year a disappointment? My answer is yes, absolutely. Even if the Sixers go on to win a championship, losing in the second round is not ideal for a team that has championship aspirations. Another question is, okay, let's say they beat the Sixers, okay? Let's say they go to the third round. If they go in the third round and they lose to the Bucks, which again would be the Eastern Conference Finals, is that a disappointment? If you ask me, I would still say yes. Reason being is because they came off a finals run. They still are a 2nd seed. Anything other than a championship run is probably going to be a disappointment for any Celtics fan, to be honest with you guys, just because you guys felt like you were so close. Now, if you go to the championship and you lose to, let's say, the problem is that the East is so much, the top 3 teams are so much better than the top 3 teams. The top 3 teams in the East are so much better than the top 3 teams in the West. Reason being is because Bucks are better than Nuggets, Celtics are better than the Grizzlies, and the Sixers are better than, who the fuck's the 3rd seed for the West again? Than the Kings. Yeah, and that one's not even close. Sixers would destroy the Kings in a series, probably like 4-2, 4-1 kind of thing. So the East is definitely better than the West. So I could see the argument, if anyone said otherwise, that Celtics don't need to necessarily make a championship run. But it would just be so... It would just be really rough because, dude, this squad is so legit. You talk about players like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Brad Stevens as obviously a general manager, you know, running the whole thing, head coach doing his best job at replicating Ime Udoka and being a rookie head coach and just doing the most. So it's crazy what Mazzulla has been able to do up to this point, but again, player-wise, they're just so super deep. Malcolm Brogdon in conversation for 6th man of the year. Al Horford being able to do great things. Robert Williams, when healthy, just being a great paint protector. I'm probably missing a player or two, to be honest with you guys, because they're just that fucking deep. The Sixers got a squad. And again, Marcus Smart, that's what I'm fucking missing. But JB and JT, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, are a duo that if they win a title, it doesn't matter what they do for the rest of their career as a Celtics duo. They validated everything and more. Now, am I saying that if they don't win anything as a duo, does that make it a disappointment? I mean, it could be a yes or no answer because their team is just so deep that if it truly does feel like one of those years that anything other than the championship is probably going to be disappointing for them. But, you know, for historical purposes, I wouldn't say it's a disappointment. I mean, it's a tough conversation to make just because they're both playing like all NBA players, literally first, second, third team. JT, second team at least, probably first team. JB, second team at least, maybe third team. But so many things surrounding the Celtics team in that it amounts to pressure, right? Pressure is probably the name of the game here. They're used to it. They made that finals run, but Losing to the Sixers in the second round would just be such a fucking blow to the heart. Losing to the Bucks in third round would be, it'd be easier to take, sure, but it's still a disappointing season. Let's be honest. If you're, breathing that leprechaun colors, then you know what this means for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown moving forward. You got to see results, and they proved they could get there last year, but now you got to kind of just take it out of the way. But going into the next team, drum roll please. Dun, 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 dun. We got the Sacramento Kings, and listen, one thing about the Sacramento Kings that I can give credit to is y'all got a whole different shaped squad than you've had in years past. You made the trade for Sabonis that was considered extremely controversial at the time. You're now the third seed. You got De'Aaron Fox, who is your closer. Sabonis, who seems to hold that offense together throughout the first three quarters. Got players coming off the bench like Malik Monk, Davion Mitchells. You got snipers like Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Trey Lyles being a stretch four who can also, hit some threes. So there's just really a lot to this Kings team in terms of shooting, and there's really no lack thereof shooting. The question is, that I think is on everyone's mind is can they handle the moment? Because what there is a lack thereof is experience. They just don't have a lot of they have no experience, to be honest with you. Fox, Sabonis, the Kings fans in general haven't seen the playoffs in fucking 16 years, so they're going to be super stoked, super excited, but can they handle the moment? In all honesty, if they do not win the first round, I don't see how you don't draw the season up as a disappointment, strictly off the fact that y'all were the third seed, right? If you were the 7th seed, 8th seed, 6th seed, basically if you're the 5th seed or lower, I don't think it's a disappointment for y'all to lose the first round, like, oh, this team failed. But because you guys performed so well in the regular season, to lose as a third seed would be so gut-wrenching. And I know people are going to say, hey, they outperformed anyway. And yes, I do agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But if you look at a team that's a third seed, you expect them to make it at least the second round. That's just the expectation. That's the kind of pressure that comes with playing that good in the regular season. But a counter argument to that is they're playing the defending champs. How have they been playing the Timberwolves, the Pelicans, the Thunder, Lakers, whomever? I think Lakers would also be a different story too, because Lakers have LeBron and AD who are champions, but they're also playing right now the defending champs. So that could be a counter argument to say, hey, defending champs, that's a tough task. But again, you're the fucking 3 seed for a reason. You performed that well. Granted, you've been healthy all season, so I think no matter what, Kings fans are just happy to be in the playoffs. I think the Kings organization is hungry and they're ready to go and they're ready to prove a lot of people wrong. But in my opinion, if they lose to the Warriors, this is 100% a disappointment because they are the third seed. And even though they outperformed expectations, you got to be about the moment. You got the clutchest player in the regular season, De'Aaron Fox, right? He's Mr. Fourth Quarter, Mr. Clutch. But now it's time for y'all to hold it down in a game, in a series of 7 games. So we'll see what they do. Personally, I think it's going to go to game 7. I do give the super, and I mean super slight edge to the Kings. I would give them a 51% chance to win. I'd give the Warriors 49% chance to win. But again, because the Warriors are defending champs, I will not be surprised at all if the Warriors win this series. I would literally have zero shock. I'd be like, wow, this is a great series. Now, what I will say, if the Kings for whatever fucking reason lose in game 6, 5, or 4, massive disappointment. If you cannot take the Warriors to game 7, if you don't at least do that, if for whatever reason you do lose the series and you do not take it to game 7, that is a disappointment no matter what. No matter how you draw it up, you need to prove that even if worse comes to worse and you don't win the series, you can't bow down and say, we're not going to give y'all a run for your money. If you lose in game 6 or less, massive disappointment no matter how anyone puts it. That's just a fact, bro. But on to the next team, which I also think is a team that we heavily need to talk about. Drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun. The Philadelphia 76ers. This team's interesting because for one, they're going to get an easy first round, and they're probably going to win 4-1 or 4-0. But in the second round, they're going to play the Boston Celtics, because the Boston Celtics will win. Second and third seed play each other. The 1 and 4 seed play each other if the 4 seed does win and the 1 seed does win, which most of the time they do. Sometimes the 5th seed does win, though. But anyway, the Celtics will play the Sixers. That is going to happen. And when that does happen, one of those two teams will have immense disappointment after the season, because they are two teams that are title contenders that have heavy pressure on them. Obviously, I just talked about the Celtics. I already went through all of that. But the 76ers have pressure of their own because they got James Harden, who's not proven in the playoffs at all, who tends to fall short all the time. Every time he's made it to the playoffs, he's fallen short with bad performances. Then you talk about Joel Embiid, who's a player who's been so good for so long now, but he just can't seem to get to that next level. Even though he's probably going to win MVP this year, imagine having an MVP on your team and you can't win the fucking second. You can't get past the second round. And that's what we're looking at here when you got two monster teams, again, in the Sixers and the Celtics. Now, if the Sixers were a West team, I don't even think it's a question. They're going to beat the Nuggets. They're going to beat the Grizzlies. They're going to beat the Kings. They're going to beat whoever the fuck they face. I think the only real competition would be the Suns for the Sixers. But again, one of these two teams will face massive disappointment. Doc Rivers cannot handle another L, bro. There's only so many people he can blame. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, inexperienced in this whole thing, but just a solid, obviously a solid star player. Excited to see what they can do for the future, but too many good pieces, right? You got Jalen McDaniels now, great for defense. Obviously, Tobias Harris, inconsistent, but he can still buy you a bucket. You know, that's what's really important here, is the guy can still buy you a bucket. D'Anthony Melton, great defensively, leading the league in steals, or at least top 5 for sure. But another 3-point shooter, another player who's just really crafty. Or I would say more so slippery. Maybe you can argue they're the same thing. But again, this Sixers team is they're just too good to lose in the second round. And it's sad. It is really sad that them or the Celtics will have to, face that fate. But at the very least, the 76ers do, the Celtics do have home court advantage. So the Celtics do have a bit more of an advantage if they do play in the second round, just because they secured the bag. And sorry, I'm typing here as I'm going through this, so I apologizing that I'm stuttering. I'm trying to pull up the full bracket so that I can confirm the Celtics would play the Sixers. But yep, they would. I just confirmed it. That just happened. Because this video would be really fucking wasted if that didn't happen. But anyway, Sixers and Celtics. Sixers for a long time, man. When they had Jimmy Butler, and they were one Kawhi Leonard shot away from going to the finals. Obviously, massive disappointment, and losing here would just really be a disappointing season. Again, even if the 76ers play the Celtics, and even if the Celtics beat the Sixers and went on to win the championship, for the Sixers, if you can't get past the second round, it's just a disappointing year. So a lot of pressure on a lot of teams. Celtics, we know, have handled the pressure in the past. Sixers, very, very unproven. And then if the Sixers do win, if they do beat the Celtics, right, and they do play the Bucks, if they lose to the Bucks, I'm sorry, it's still a disappointment. Like, for these three teams in particular, the Sixers, Bucks, and Celtics, there is so much expectations from them because they've been so dominant. They have been extremely dominant. I mean, you look at the Sixers, they're 54-28. They have a fucking better record than the Nuggets. Your third seed on the East is better record-wise and better as a team than the Nuggets at the first seed on the West. So much pressure from the Sixers, Celtics, and Bucks. And the Bucks are fucking clutch for securing that first seed, because even though it's going to be an extremely tough series against the Cavs or the Knicks, you expect the Bucks to pull through. Like, that is the expectation. But Sixers and Celtics, like, one of those great teams is going to have to lose. And that's so shitty, but as an NBA fan, is something to look forward to. So I'm curious to see what happens. You know, if the Sixers do lose, what's going to happen in the offseason? Like, do they say, what the fuck? Do we just run it back? I'm assuming you have to say you run it back, but that is the worst feeling in the world, because you're wasting another year of James Harden. You're wasting another year of prime Joel Embiid. Like, it's just so much pressure, and you don't want to deal with the meltdown of what could happen, especially with the fans being really angry. That's just the worst. I'm sure that Daryl Morey isn't too worried about that kind of, feedback of fan feedback if they do lose, but it's still shitty. And, you wish the best for the players. So we'll see what happens. I think if they go to a game 7, the Sixers and Celtics, I think it would make the blow easier for the losing team to swallow, just because you said, hey, we lost to a really great fucking team in game 7. Now they're still going to face disappointment no matter what, the losing team, but it's good stuff nonetheless. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always for watching. Thank you again for tuning into the new format. I know that we've had some growing pains getting to this point, but now that we're here, I'm very appreciative. And as always, this is Ollie Been Different on We Been Different, and we out.